Very well. All right, new topic.
Oh, we filming?
Yes.
All right,
We're
so
getting this done.
we're gonna be eating a little bit too. I'm sorry.
What is it called when like the ASMR?
It's not. It's like 4:45. We're still here. We're still going.
Still grinding.
Still got 3 more. All right, that's actually not that bad.
Uh,
All right, you can't like eat that much though. Okay, so now we're gonna be talking about totalitarianism. I'm not laughing, man. So we're gonna be talking about Russia, Europe, and Japan in between the wars.
Let's try it again.
Totalitarianism.
There you go.
Yeah, in between the wars. World War I, World War II, to be exact.
What did you just say?
In what?
You were like,
Bro, stop.
I'm losing it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're
I'm sorry.
losing it. You're losing it. All right, so to start, what is totalitarianism? A definition: totalitarianism. This is like the textbook definition. Is a political system where the government controls every aspect of people's lives: speech, media, education, even thoughts. There's no freedom of speech, no opposition, just one-party rule built on propaganda, terror, and obedience. So that's very complicated, which is why Matthew's going to dumb it down for us.
is that a backhanded compliment?
No.
All right. So,
Explain totalitarianism. It's not hard.
All right, what's the thing? Capitalism. Capitalism is very good. It's very efficient, but there are ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's not that good. And I don't remember because we didn't talk about this in Global. I don't know why we didn't. But the Great Depression was a kind of a capitalist depression, and people didn't like that. Again, this happened in
1929.
This happened. It was 19, yeah, the Roaring 20s. It happened in America, Japan, and all of Europe. Some people stuck with capitalism, but some people didn't. Now, communism, again, was a big thing at this time, but people didn't like communism, right? And they went to totalitarianism because it wasn't democracy, because democracy wasn't working, but at least it wasn't communism. Your turn.
Yeah, that's like not really this part, but whatever. So, whatever. So, in the 1920s and 30s, no.
Can we share?
Hell no.
Can we share?
I paid, bro. Get out. Nah, a lot of totalitarian dictators rose. In Italy, there was, Benito Mussolini.
There you go.
In Germany, not my boy, Adolf Hitler. And in Japan, who was it?
He does something?
Yes. I thought that too.
It's probably not. It's probably not.
Hirohito. Hey. Hirohito. So, let's start with Mussolini and fascism in Italy. So, fascism was this new form of government that established. It was sort of similar to communism, but it just had a racial and like racist aspect to it. So, in World War I, Italy was promised a lot of land for switching from Italy was originally on the side with Germany, and then they switched to fight with the United States. And
Because they were promised land.
they were promised land that they never got. So they were mad, they felt cheated. Bitterness. Unemployment was high, the economy was weak, and the people feared a communist revolution. So in 1922, Benito Mussolini, the leader of the fascist party.
I'm joking.
What? Oh, you're choking? You want this? He led the March on Rome, where King Victor Emmanuel III gave him power, hoping he'd restore order to Italy, because Italy was in a lot of chaos now. So, in 1925, Mussolini now named himself El Duce, is that it? El Duce? Yeah, El Duce, which translates to the leader. He banned all other parties.
Black shirts.
He used the black shirts to beat opponents and ran a propaganda campaign with slogans like believe, obey, fight, everything in the state, nothing outside the state. Fascism, it demanded total loyalty to the state, and it emphasized militarism, discipline, and expansion.
Yep. Now, Hitler. So after World War I, Germany was in chaos, and that is because of the extreme reparations. Are we sure this is going with? I just realized it might be.
Are you serious?
It's not recording. I'm so sorry.
No, we're good.
All right, thank God. All right. So Germany had to. That was smart. Germany had to pay extreme reparations, and they didn't like this, right? Because they had this burden. It was that was a little too abstract. I was about to say. So they had to pay these huge reparations. They had this burden over their head, and now Hitler came. Hitler's goal was to inspire the people through kind of disregarding these things that they had to pay. So when he was the appointed, like Napoleon was, like a lot of other these really ambitious, sometimes negative leaders were. He was like, all right, we're not going to listen to the West. We're Germany, we're great, and I want to make Germany as great as it was again, kind of make America great again, kind of thing.
Did we talk about nationalism?
And I was about to say.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry. I was about to say that nationalism, he was able to gain the power of the people through nationalism, similar to what all of these other rulers
so
were able to do.
As we talked about at the end of World War I, Germany was kind of in shambles, but now Hitler made people proud to be German again, and he made people want Germany to be as strong as it used to be. So Germany had the Weimar Republic, which was this democratic government, which is obviously good. We like that, but it got a lot of blame due to the reparations, hyperinflation, and say it.
The Great Depression.
The Great Depression. So during this sort of crisis, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, which was a form of fascism. So just to explain, communism is extreme liberalism and leftism. Fascism is extreme conservatism.
This is probably their right.
You're right. So the Nazi Party gained support, and what's very important about both Mussolini and Hitler is that they didn't seize power; they were given power. Mussolini was given power by King Victor Emmanuel, and Adolf Hitler was actually elected into power. So in 1933, President Hindenburg appointed Hitler as the Chancellor. So soon Hitler became, Führer, which was the absolute leader of Germany. That's what it means. And Nazism, as I said, it was a form of fascism, but with an even more racial twist to it. Hitler had this idea of the Aryan race. It was blonde, blue eyes. It was just this perfect white
Christian. Not even Christian. Actually, that's not true. Hitler was so secular that he even tried to cut out the church, but that couldn't happen.
So he wanted the Aryan race to run the world. He did not like Jews very much. He was very, very anti-Semitic, and there was extreme nationalism. And it sort of shows us sometimes nationalism can get to a point. It's good to have pride, but when it leads to you doing very violent and disgusting things, it's not as good anymore.
Yeah, again, if you have on the essay, you have something about this, and then you have something about, I don't know, Napoleon and stuff. You can say how nationalism can be good and how nationalism
if you're comparing similarities, differences on the CRQs. So Hitler, he used propaganda, mass rallies, and youth programs to control society. So just go one by one. Propaganda is, we defined it earlier, mass rallies, and the youth programs was it Youth Hitler? Which is where he basically was just drilling his ideas into the people at a very young age.
We read that book.
Yeah.
The Book Thief?
Yeah, the Book Thief. Yeah, the Book Thief. Yeah, he was
One
in
of his
Hitler's
best friends was in
Rudy. Yeah, Rudy.
How do you remember that?
Yeah, Rudy 9. So, basically, I forgot to mention this, but Mein Kampf is a book, a manifesto of all of Hitler's ideas that he made everybody read. Everybody owned one, and
he wrote it in jail.
He wrote it in jail, yeah. Or he didn't actually write it. He was telling people his plans, and they wrote it down.
In jail.
Yeah, in jail. Yeah. So now we start to see a little bit of anti-Semitism leading up to the Holocaust. So in 1935, the Nuremberg laws. Nuremberg. It stripped Jews of their rights. In 1938, the Night of Broken Glass happened, which is basically where...
You're not even going to attempt to say it,
Yeah,
right?
you say it. Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, which is what they want to hear. Targeted Jewish homes, Jewish shops, and synagogues. They extremely vandalized them. They destroyed windows, houses, and this all started the path to the Holocaust, which was Hitler's plan to annihilate the Jews, which was called the final solution.
Mm-hmm.
So remember earlier I told you
Human
guys
rights violations?
it was, yeah. I told you guys about the Second Reich. Now we're entering the Third Reich, which was Hitler's new empire, and their goal was today Germany, tomorrow the world. And his aggression and expansion would soon lead to World War II. We're not going to get into the Holocaust in this video, but this is sort of everything leading up to it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we don't do the Holocaust. Yeah, Holocaust is during World War II.
Okay. All right, now Japan. While Europe turned to fascism, Japan was also growing more aggressive. In the 1920s, Japan, unlike a lot of other countries, experienced the economic depression, so they needed a need for resources, and they still believed in Japan's racial superiority. They're like, all right, yeah, we're great, we're still, we're a big power. What do they call that? Social Darwinism? And ethnocentrism, that was it.
Ethnocentrism, yeah, and social Darwinism.
Now, military leaders gained more control, and the Emperor Hirohito was worshipped like a living god. And again, back to that living god aspect, that was a way for the Japanese government, not even the empire himself, because the empire was a puppet. He was controlled, but that's how the actual government was able to control the power of the people, by elevating their ruler. And their motto became export or die. Now, originally that is economic, they need to export goods, they need to get money, but in the end, it'll actually be, militaristic. Like, now we gotta export our troops, now we have to, really imperialize these areas. So, in 1931, they invaded Manchuria and set up a puppet state called, I'm not gonna say that, called
Yeah, you don't have to.
Manzuogo.
Yeah,
In 1937, they attacked China, committing atrocities like the rape of Nanjing. That's not the Sino-Chinese War. That's something completely different. And this was really bad. The rape of Nanjing was a really horrific thing. And Japan's leader said that they were building the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. It was imperialism, Max, and Asia's Union. Remember, their motto was Asia for the Asians, right? Japan said this, but they weren't really very truthful with that. It actually turned out to be Asia for Japan, because again, Japan, like all these other big powers, was imperialistic.
So it sort of shows their deceitfulness. I don't know if you guys remember, we talked about this in a prior video. We talked about the white man's burden, which is where. So that's where. We talked about this in the prior video about Africa and India, the white man's burden, where the people felt like it was their obligation to help everyone else. So the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere, that was sort of their cover-up. Sphere. That was sort of their cover-up for their imperialism, and Asia for the Asians was just their cover-up for Asia for the Japan.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Sorry.
By the 1940s, Japan had taken much of East and Southeast Asia. The Rome, Berlin, Tokyo axis was an alliance, the Axis
like
powers
the Axis
in a war. It was Mussolini, Hitler, and the Japanese militarists, and that we're not going to say yet. We'll say that when we talk about World War II. Yeah.
And then they ended up bombing Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, they bombed Pearl Harbor, which was a very aggressive move and a very dumb move, which we're going to get into more in World War II, which is our next video. Woo! World War II.
How many more we got?
Like 2.